Hey, 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 everybody. Just going to have some water before I roll. I should have done this on Zoom. Anyway, it's all good. Yeah, I have been playing on Clubhouse and it's epic. Look, I'm really loving it. It's kind of like, yeah, for those of you who don't know, you just kind of go into these rooms and you can organize people to come in and they like moderate the room with you. You can organize people come up on stage and talk, and you just sort of set a topic for the room and you start talking and you start vibing. So it's a real lesson in listening and receiving, and also just like moderating energy. And all of the groups, all of the talks that I've spoken about so far have been about intuition, because obviously it's my love, it's what I love, and it's what I feel like really comfortable and can easily talk about, especially in a group of strangers. Like, you just jump into groups of strangers and, you know, there could be like 10 people, 50 people, 2 people in the room. And this morning we spoke about, the topic was how to rely on your intuition to create the life that you want. And we had this beautiful man come and join us on stage. And we said, oh, we talked about intuition a little bit and we shared a bit of our stories. And then we asked this man, we said, you know, who wants to have a reading? And this man like jumped straight on stage. He was like so excited to get a reading. And I didn't actually tell him the process. So it just freaked him out, like fully, especially the current reality part. And he'd never really done any work with intuition or anything before. And he was just a businessman who was on a journey to, like amazing character. But yeah, it was really interesting to see his reaction to being read, like intuitively read by a bunch of strangers, and being told like these really vulnerable, intimate things about his life, and like how he was relating to his genius in his business. And by the end of it, like by the end of the whole process, he was like, wow, I need to know more about this. And we've had a few chats on Instagram since then. I'm pretty sure he's going to do some my course and the other guy that was on there's course, so that he could dive deeper into intuition. And it was just something that he'd never considered in his life really ever. And he shared that he was going to leave the room like at the beginning, because he was like, I don't know anything about intuition, this isn't the room for me. You know, like he was just kind of, hey, freedom. He was just kind of it was just kind of baffled. And by the end, he was just literally like so blown away by you want to come on? You want to have a conversation? Let's have a conversation about intuition if you want to. I'm more than happy to jam. Do you want to just say yes if you want to come on? And we can bounce on this if you want to, about relying on your intuition. And this was just kind of the intro story. I haven't got a message through yet, but if you do want to come on, please write, yes, I want to come on. And let's go. Let's jive. We can we can bounce. I'm all for that. So at the end of it, this guy actually came away with a real solid, reliable next step, which was for him just to recognize that there were 2 realities that he was living. There was like his genius reality and there was his current reality, and he was kind of only focusing on his vision, but he wasn't really looking at his current reality, because all this stuff had happened in his past and he was trying to kind of run away from it and compensate from it. And so he was creating from that compensation, and therefore his energy was like highly anxious and nervous and running like that. So it was just a beautiful conversation about using your intuition and how to tangibly rely on your intuition to create the life you want. And so I wanted to talk about this in this group here, because For those of you who I've just removed the masterclass from this group, and once again, I want to say thank you to everyone who has responded. Like, it was just, I've had people who have created their own masterclasses from that content, people who have had just amazing breakthroughs and connections and insights with their muse. I had heaps of people reach out to me about one-on-one coaching, which was just like, really, I did not expect that kind of response. Obviously, I wanted that kind of response, but yeah, I've been having conversations with loads of people about just what it takes to be in that creative modality, a creative orientation of really living from your intuition. And living from your intuition that's what a magical life is. It's like, it's being truthful and present about what's obvious, and being unrelenting in your pursuit for the truth, and really knowing what your truth is and really being connected to that truth. And all of the stuff that I teach and all of the, I'm going to be sharing a bit more in this space. And I'm even thinking of running some live sessions in this group to do some intuitive readings for you guys. Like, if you have like places where you feel like maybe you're a little bit stuck and you want some direction on them, I might just run maybe a class a week for that kind of direction, which I think could be fun and could really help you to, number one, be embodied in your own intuition, and number two, get clear on where you are really truly wanting to go. Because it's actually really simple, but when you don't know how to do it, it might as well not exist. So I think most people experience their intuition in one way or another, and whether it comes through in your dreams or whether it's just like a feeling that you get. And I think everyone who's watching this, and everyone who does watch this, and everyone who watches the replay, like, when you don't follow your intuition, when you don't follow that gut feeling, when you don't follow that truth that you know is really your truth, you always kick yourself when you look back and you have the hindsight and you're like, I knew it. Like, I just knew it. Why didn't I follow it? Or when you do follow it, it's like, it's so satisfying. You're like, I knew it. So there's like a fine line, and there's an art of relying on your intuition to create the life that you want. And a lot of it, for me, it involves the principles of alchemy. And those principles of alchemy break down pretty much like this. You probably have seen in a lot of ancient sort of references, there's a lot of like the triangle, and it's got the eye in the middle, and it's always associated with like wizards and alchemy and metaphysical teachings and stuff like that, and philosophies. And basically alchemy and intuition really can be captured in that triangle, in that alchemical triangle. And each of those points stands for something, and stands for something that helps you in creating. And I'm going to draw it for you, actually, just so you can get an understanding of what I'm talking about. Those of you who watch my masterclass, this is I think I put it in there too, but just for this, I'm going to draw it. Here's the triangle, right? There's truth, there's love, and there's wisdom. And we're going to circle back. This applies to your intuition. So there's truth, there's love, and there's wisdom. The truth, these two parts down the bottom of your life, of your vision, of what you're trying to create, are aspects of your consciousness. And the truth is your current reality. It's like really understanding and really getting real and really being present with what's happening in your current reality. So, like, are you feeling stuck? Are you ignoring things? Is there like some jealousy? Is there some competition? Do you feel like shit about yourself? Do you have no money? Do you have too much money? Are you feeling lonely, depressed? Like, what's really there? What's really true for you? And that's the truth. And that is an important pillar of how to rely on your intuition, because if we ignore this, what we resist persists. So what we end up creating is actually it's based in that truth, in that current reality. the other point is love. So this point here is really your vision. Like, what is it that you would love? Like when you could just sit and ask yourself now and ask yourself the one question: what is it that I would love? What would I love to create? What's real for me? And that can be that can be a big picture about your whole life. That can be, you know, about one aspect of your life. That can be about how you're showing up in a relationship, what your bank account looks like, what your job looks like, how you are with your children. Or it can be like a big picture, like, are you in your purpose? Are you living in your purpose? And that's always the reason why we call that love, is because it's always driven by your heart. It's your heart. Our vision it's our heart, and I think it's important for us to understand that everyone has a heart, and when we're living from that heart, when we're living in our truth, and we have like a full recognition of that truth, then it makes it easier to go for. So these 2 points, the truth and the love, when we can see them simultaneously next to each other, like existing at the same time, they're both simultaneously. One is our genius, one is our unconscious beliefs, and they're both simultaneously trying to create at exactly the same time. And what gets created, what's always going to get created, is whatever you're giving your power to. And is it going to be in favor of what you love? Is it going to be in favor of your heart? Are you going to follow the intuition to have that resolved in your favor and have the wisdom, so this is the wisdom, come through for you to be able to have your tangible results? Or is the truth, your current reality, going to take over? And this is the balance, and this is the dance of intuition, and this is where intuition really steps in, is because when you can daily, and I do this literally daily, and when I feel stuck, I always tune back into this, is I look at my truth. I'm like, okay, what's really happening here? What's true right now? Name it all. I'm like, okay, and this is what I really want. And I sit with it, and you have to hold the tension of that. And I often ask, like, and what is my next step? And when you set up intuition like that, with the truth and the love, the wisdom will always come through, and the wisdom is going to be the intuition. Sometimes the wisdom happens in the form of the right person coming through, or making new connections. For me, it's like I'm building my business at the moment, so it's like a lot of new connections are coming through. Sometimes it's like, I just need to get clarity on this part because it's so clear that I don't know where I'm going in this area of my life. So often your intuition never actually gives you, Carolyn, hey darling. Often your intuition never actually gives you the whole picture. You don't get like, okay, this, blah, 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 and it all kind of like lays out in front of you. But that's not what you need. Literally all you need is the next step. And as soon as we apply the action, as soon as we take that step and make that aligned action, then like the vista opens and the next obvious step can come through and we can follow it. It's like you have to use the key to open the door. And what I witness is like so many people standing behind that door, standing behind the line, but never actually truly crossing it. And what I think is not taught in a lot of manifestation is, like it can't just be your thought. If you wanted your child, like I know there's mothers watching, if you wanted your child to do something, you couldn't just think them into like picking something up. There has to be the action, there has to be the speak, there has to be the words. So this when the intuitive action that is aligned comes through for you to actually follow through, it's not negotiable. It's not like at your discretion, like maybe that's true, maybe that's not true. It's like, no, I'm gonna do that. Like, and I'm really choosing this. I'm really deciding that. And I was in a room last night and with this beautiful dude who's like, he's called the Giant Thinker, and he's on lots of like, I don't know, but he's like, he's a big deal. And I can't talk people up. I'm really bad at it. But you can tell he's a big deal. He's got like really great energy and he had lots of connections. And he was talking about you just have to choose your hard. You have to choose your level of hard. And I really resonated with that because this group is called Fully Expressed and Thriving. And for people to be fully expressed and thriving, we really need to be fully expressed. And that means not holding back. That means really allowing yourself to cross that line, like really step forward and take control and take power, and don't leave a back door for yourself. Because if we're not really going for our heart, if we're not really going for our vision, if we're not really going for our love, then what's the fucking point? Like, you might as well just go for it. Or, you know, don't mean to be harsh, or waste your life, because that's what happens. Like, we can't get what we want without truly deciding and without truly committing to what our vision is. And if you use that structure that I just shared with you of settling into bringing yourself into that place of presence and looking at what's true and looking at what you truly want and asking for your next step, then you cannot, like, then you know, like, you're just gonna keep doing circles. I forgot how I started that sentence, but I think I drew it all together in the end. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to share today. I felt I really needed to jump on and talk and release some creative energy. So I hope that structure has helped you guys. Follow through with your actions, really be present to what's real. Don't ignore anything that's niggling, but also know that there's nothing that you have to do about it. It's just an acknowledgement of who you are, of what's happening. And there's also an acknowledgement of your vision. Hold the tension. It's gonna cause tension. Like, by its very nature and by its very structure, it will cause tension. Your job and your role is to hold that tension and hold your end result. And yeah, just embrace being human. We don't have to be these like super conscious all the time, just like totally on intuitive beings. Like, for us to get our end results, we pretty much only need to hold that 51% of the time. And you know, we're dolphins. We're swimming in the water. We have an ego. We like came into this body. It's part of who we are. We are always going to have those thoughts. Even when we get to the next level and the next level and the next level, it's always going to be there. Our ego will always ask, how is it here? How do I have to be? How do I have to show up? And that ego is always going to be limited, no matter how spiritually advanced you are, no matter how much intuitive work you've done, no matter how many millions of dollars you've created, your ego is always going to show up in any single space. So that's always going to create tension, and that tension is always going to help you create. That's a really good line. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And thank you for helping me relieve my tension of not knowing what to do next. And my next obvious step was I did this practice, and it was like, just go on live and talk about intuitiveness. And it really did help relieve my tension, and I feel so much better. So, mwah. For those of you who missed my masterclass, it's like 5 hours. It's about 5 hours of content. And it's on my website for 44 Australian dollars. So you can check it out. It takes you through this whole process, as well as finding your muse so that you can be led by inspiration. It goes through everything that I've shared on this call in a little bit deeper detail. And it takes you through some intuitive processes. Thank you for tuning in. I shall see you soon. Lots of love.